Electrospectrum. If we talk about in this part, we are going to see that what are electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum is defined as the whole range of frequencies or wavelength of an electromagnetic waves arranged in a order is known as electromagnetic spectrum. Means if we can say that the frequencies and the wavelength of all the waves which is possessed by the electromagnetics are arranged in a proper manner, and that band or that range of frequency is called as electromagnetic spectrum. If we will talk about its spectrum, that only the some part of its spectrum is visible to us, and that part is known as visible spectrum. Here, if we talk about in this, it is important that there is no exact demarcation of types of EM waves. What does it mean? Means basically it is grouped in a range of, or we can say it consists of 7 majorly band of the waves, that is radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays, visible rays, ultraviolet rays, X-rays and gamma rays. So here we are going to talk about each one of them in a detail. So the first, here you can see this is the chart of wavelength and the frequency which is giving all the range of frequency. Here if you will see that the radio wave have the largest wavelength and the shortest frequency, right? Here in the reverse order you can see, so this is helpful to remember, that is the longer wavelength and the shorter frequency. Okay, next, if we are going to talk about in detail, now we are going to discuss the electromagnetic spectrum in detail with all the studies of radio, micro, infra, visible, ultraviolet rays and gamma rays. I will give you the short trick how to remember these all. Okay. So now here we are going to discuss, as you can see here, that electromagnetic spectrum band of this EM waves is used for a different applications according to their range of transmission or according to their wavelength and frequencies. So here this is the chart which we have given for their energy, wavelength and frequency that you can study. Now we are going to discuss with the radio waves. So if we talk about the radio waves, so radio waves is the longest wavelength, or it has a longest wave among all the electromagnetic waves. Okay, and it has the low frequency. Now the question comes, how the radio wave produced. The radio waves are produced by rapidly change in the electric current in the LC circuit. Means what? Here if you will see that we have an LC circuit, that LC circuit is, if we are changing the current rapidly, then it will produce a radio waves. So the first property which you have to remember in the radio waves, that it has a longest wavelength and a shortest frequency. If I will talk about the range of the wavelength of radio waves, it is around 15 centimeter to 2000 meter. The radio waves are used in a different application, such as it is mainly used in communication purpose. Now this radio waves is also subdivided into a number of types, like very low frequency radio wave, low frequency radio wave, medium frequency radio wave, high frequency radio wave and very high frequency radio waves and ultra high frequency radio waves. Here if you will see that the radio waves are used in medicine, it is used in the diagnosis of many problems, and it is used in radio frequency also. Means there are so many applications of this radio waves. So radio waves produced with the help of an LC oscillation, it possesses the longest wavelength and the shortest frequency, which range is from 15 centimeter to 2000 meter. So this is about your radio waves. Now the next type of a wave come, which is called the microwave. What are microwaves, if I will say? So the microwaves is the greater than 1 millimeter and less than 30 centimeter. This is the wavelength of the microwave. After your radio wave, the microwave is possessing the means the wavelength which is after radio waves which have the largest wavelength. So the microwaves has the wavelength which is around 1 millimeter and less than 30 centimeter. Okay, if we will talk about its frequency range, then its frequency range is 10 to the power 9 hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 11 hertz. Okay, now how they are going to produce, they are going to produce by an oscillating electrons in a cavity. It will be produced in a cyclotron and a megatron or a gun diodes. So this microwaves are going to be produced with the help of klystron, magnetrons and gun diodes. If I will talk about the uses, so the microwaves are used here in the cell phones, satellites. These are the applications of your microwave. Even we have the microwave more application. It is used in radar communication, means that communication which is used for the security purpose. It is used for atomic and molecular research, and also it is used in aircraft navigation. If I will talk about the microwave, so you have seen that the microwaves we are using even for the cooking purpose, and we are using for warming the food in a microwave. We have the microwaves in our home which have normal a frequency which is set around 300 gigahertz, okay, which matches the resonant frequency of the water molecules, right? So that will help us to produce or to warm the food. It is also helpful in the cellular phone, means in the mobile communication, and the microwaves are also useful in radars as well. These are the some applications of your microwaves that is used in the medical, that we have seen, that is it is useful in ablation, it is used in diathermy, it is used in the transurethral microwaves. These all are the applications of your microwave in the medical field. Now the next type of a wave come, that is called infrared wave. We are going to talk about the infrared waves. What are infrared rays? Waves, it is also called IR rays. It has a wavelength which is about the range of 1 mm to 700 nanometer, and its frequency range is 3 into 10 to the power 11 hertz to 4.3 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Now the question come, how the infrared rays are produced? They are produced by the excitation of an atoms and molecules, okay. They are also produced by an hot bodies which will radiate the infrared rays. The sun is an example of that, okay. And these waves are also called the heat waves. If I will talk about the infrared rays are comes under a or between the microwaves and the visible range, okay. Now what are the uses of your infrared rays we are going to discuss. These rays are also useful in haze, fog or mist. How they are going to useful? This infrared waves are only help us to allow us to see in the night vision camera, such as devices like in guns, in cameras and in car. It is also useful to taking the photograph of earth under the foggy condition. So these are the application of your infrared waves. There are many applications of your infrared waves, such as that it is useful to these are the rays used to function the greenhouse, because of greenhouse gas CO2 and water vapors absorbed by the infrared rays, okay. Second one, if we will talk about, they are revealing the secret writings on the ancient wall. We are sending the infrared rays that only help us, and that will allow us to identify what is written there with the help of this IR rays. It is also useful in the treatment of the muscular strain. Those who have this pain in the muscles, that will also help, or that will be cured with the help of this infrared lamps. Second one, we are going to see that these rays are helpful for keeping the earth warm. It is also useful in infrared remotes for operating electronic devices, such as we are able to use all type of devices which have a remote, like TV, VCDs, music. All these are using an infrared rays. You are finding that we have a one bulb in that remote, and the same we are finding in the LED. So how this will happen? This will happen because of the IR diode, okay. There are some precautions which we have to take while using this, because if we will see the IR radiation, that will not good for our skin. Even it will produces an skin cancer also, okay. Now here we can see the modality use, that is infrared lamps. Just now I have talked about infrared lamps are used to treat the muscular strains. Those who have a pain in their muscles, that will be healed with the help of infrared lamps. Okay, then digital infrared cameras, this will help us to see in the night. Imaging in medicine, that is also useful in oncology, vascular disorder, respiratory disorder, skeletal, neuromuscular disease, surgery, and tissue viability. These are the uses of your infrared rays. Now we are going to talk about visible light. As the name given, visible light means this is the only band in the spectrum which is visible to us. So the wavelength of the visible range of the light is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, which is of the 7 bands of color, that is called VIBGYOR. It means 400 nanometer is a violet color and 700 nanometer is a red color. Okay, and it has the frequency of 4.3 into 10 to the power 14 hertz to 7.5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Okay, these visible lights are we can say produced or emitted when electron jumps from a higher energy level to the lower energy level of an atom. You remember in the beginning of the chapter we have discussed that the electrons are moving from a valency band to the conduction band, but this visible light is obtained when those electrons are jumped from the conduction band from a higher energy state to the lower energy state. That time it is producing a visible band of spectrum which have basically a 7 color, that is called VIBGYOR. The portion of electromagnetic spectrum that human eye can detect is called the visible light. Okay, now if we will see here, you see the different wavelengths as color. So the blue has the shortest wavelength. We already discussed all these things. Red is the longest. Light looks white if all colors are present in it. Why it is so? Because we have seen that the experiment conducted by the Newton, if we are going to keep an inverted prism, we can find out that it will be the 7 colors possessed, means it will be get back to the one light. Now the use of this visible light. So the visible light is help us to see, or it will enable us or gives the sight to the human beings, right? And we are able to see all the beautiful world's phenomena because of this visible light presence only. Okay, next, this visible light is useful in the photography. It is also used in optical microscopy, useful in astronomy. It is a great source of energy for human life. And here if you will see, that is useful in the scanning and all the things. These are the applications of your visible lights. Now moving next, that is your ultraviolet rays, that is also called UV rays. The range of your ultraviolet rays is around 400 nanometer to 0.6 nanometer. Okay, and their frequency range is 7.5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz to 5 into 10 to the power 15 hertz. If I will talk about this UV rays, so the sun is the most important source of the ultraviolet rays. Okay, and these rays are produced by the welding arc also. These rays in large quantities are very harmful for the living tissues. We have already discussed that if the UV rays comes directly, or if we are in a longer exposure of this UV rays, you have noticed in your day-to-day life, that is a tanning of your skin. You have seen that the melanin in the skin is get reduced. You have seen that if you will work for a longer period of time in a UV rays, you can find that the cause of an cancer or human skin cancer, we can say. So these are some precautions which we have to take when we are using or when we are dealing with the ultraviolet rays. Okay, now what are the applications of your ultraviolet rays? So they are used to preserve the foodstuffs and making drinking water free from the bacteria. UV rays, one most powerful application that it is used to in a what I can say, that is in our water purifiers we are using to kill the germs and the bacteria. They are used for the sterilizing the surgical instruments, right? They are also used in detecting the invisible writing, and they are also used to structure the molecules. These are the important applications of your UV waves, or we can say UV light or UV rays. Okay, and these are the some applications of your UV rays. Here's some more applications which we have, that what we have to avoid, and these are the precautions which we have to take. Now here they have asked, can we UV radiation be useful? Yes, we have already seen it is useful because it consists of vitamin D. If we are going to take the vitamin D from morning till 8 or to 9, we found that it is helpful, and that will gives us the vitamin D, and it is also helpful to sterilize the medical supplies. Okay, it is also used in a fluorescent powder for the fingerprints and for the studying the things which is written on the wall. Okay, now the moving to the next type of the ray, that is X-rays. That the name given, the X-ray, on by the Professor Wrongton in 1895. X-ray can be produced by bombarding a target of high atomic number with a beam of fast moving electrons. Okay, that will help, or that will produce an X-rays. If we talk about the X-rays, so it has a wavelength around 10 nanometer to 10 to the power minus 4 nanometer, and the frequency is 10 to the power 15 hertz to 10 to the power 18 hertz. Now if we talk about X-rays, X-ray has a power to penetrate through a human flesh, but bones or metallic materials block these rays. That's why these X-ray machine you have commonly known for the fracture and to find out any of the disease in the bone, that time we are using an X-ray machines. Okay, so what are the uses of X-ray machine, or what are the uses of this X-rays? These are used in the medical diagnosis for locating the fracture in the bones. Even it will also helps to find out the foreign materials in the bodies. Sometimes it happens that the children eat something which is not good, or that is metallic in nature, that can also be detected with the help of X-rays. This also used for the radiotherapy or to cure the skin diseases like cancer or tumor. These are used in engineering for locating the faults or cracks or flaws in the finished materials. Okay, X-rays are also used in detective agencies to detect the gold, silver, diamond and contraband goods, etc. These are the applications of your X-rays, and this is just now we have discussed that what all the possible applications in the medicine, in the field of medical, all these things we have discussed. Now the last ray we are going to talk about, that is your gamma rays. What are your gamma rays? Gamma rays are the highest energy electromagnetic waves. Means if we talk about that, the gamma rays have the largest frequency and the minimum wavelength. Okay, so here if we will talk about that, the gamma rays have the shortest wavelength and the maximum frequency, which is vary from 10 to the power minus 10 meter to 10 to the power minus 14 meter, and its frequency is highest, so where that is 3 into 10 to the power 18 hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 22 hertz. Okay, the penetration of this gamma rays is extremely high. Okay, now we are going to talk about what are the applications of your gamma rays. Gamma rays are used for the treatment of the cancer. They are also used to examine the thick materials for structural flaws, and they are also used for the food preservation. They are used to get valuable information about the structure and the atomic nuclei. These are the applications of your gamma rays. So I hope this is clear to you, all the band of frequencies and what are the uses of this band of frequencies, everything is clear to you. So this is all about your electromagnetic spectrum. And these are the some applications of your gamma rays which we have discussed. So this you can see and we can study. These are the some more we can say that is the application, and that is